if it seems like this week's episode of the Orville would have made a good Doctor Who episode, that's because it was. It was Colin Baker's third ever story, Vengeance on Varos. But whereas Vengeance on Varos critiqued absolute democracy by mob rule as it, but that would, and how it applied to who 1980s television technology, this critiques it in how it can be applied using modern day social media. Good news, the Orville is back, helping wash the taste of STD out of our mouths. Good news, if you ever wanted to hear a spaceship captain promise an admiral that he'd order his navigator never to hump anything again, well, tonight's episode of the Orville is for you. We finally get to see some of Lamar's character, get to develop it a little bit. To tell you the truth, before this, I wasn't quite sure what his personality was supposed to be. And we get a pretty decent subplot for Dr. Finn. I tell you, the way Penny Johnson-Jalid is being used here is helping make up for the pain I endured watching one of my favorite actresses on modern television be given nothing but being the stereotypical angry boss for 4 years on Castle. Well, anyway, science team went missing on an alien planet. Away team goes down, and they quickly learn that the society is at basically our level of technology. Convenient so they can save a lot of money on the budget this week. They don't. And everybody wears badges, and they up and down vote on everything. It's direct democracy. And although they claim there is no historical precedent, I would point out this is pretty much the way ancient Athens was ruled, and it was partially responsible for their downfall, as it was purely on the basis of a popular vote they made their ill-fated venture into Sicily that caused them to fall before the Spartans. And there's even a precedent for what's going on here. Anybody who gets 10 million downvotes on whatever social media app you wish to call it gets totally lobotomized. They quickly learned that the two-member science team that was observing the planet society got downvoted because they didn't see a pregnant woman while on the subway, and they didn't get up to offer her their seats. Yeah. Got broadcast. Everybody streams it through their smartphones, which seem to have a few more functions than our modern smartphones, but also they seem to be as big as an old Apple Newton, so not sure if that's an upgrade or a downgrade from what we have, but whatever. One of them is implied to have been romantically involved with Dr. Finn. She finds him and discovers that they can't help him. He's just been turned into a vegetable that pretty much likes and is nice to everything. If you've ever seen Babylon 5 and you've seen the episodes focusing on the death of personality and what that causes, think that only taken to an even greater extreme. That's the penalty. And then, I really don't remember the actor's name, but then Lamar gets in trouble for humping a statue. Why? Don't know, but it's a statue of the founder of this society. So, yeah, as you can imagine, he quickly ends up under arrest, and his publicity manager is called in. Yes, everyone is assigned a publicity manager. Which makes me think, if everybody does a staged apology, then why do apologies mean anything in this society? One thing that they do bring up is that one thing I will give this episode credit for, and it continues to do right, is even when condemning something, it can still show both sides of the argument. For instance, later on, a native of the planet who discovers the Orville crew's secret is brought on board because the Admiral orders that they can't mount a rescue for Lamar because that could cause all sorts of chaos on the planet. But she discovers their secret by chance, so they can't extract him, but they can bring her up to the ship. So they bring her up to act as an advisor, and to their credit, they show most of the people here being very, very nice. It's just that they're being ruled by groupthink. However, as she points out, and I love this about the Orville, and this is why it reminds me of classic Trek at its best, is she points out that they've lost some of their freedom by going to a representative democracy. Which, again, is what I can't help but think an ancient Greek would say if they looked at our system. We talk about them as being the birthplace of Western democracy and our civilization descending from them, and yet I can't help but think if you took an ancient Greek and brought them into the modern world and got rid of all the other culture shock, they would still find the number of rules we live under, and the fact that we can't just directly vote to get rid of an unpopular leader. We have to wait till the next election cycle to be handcuffing us. So Lamar has to do a publicity tour on all the major talk shows. Of course, he manages to screw it up every single time. Publicity manager is played by Steve Gulp, who's been in everything, including season 3 of Enterprise, which come to think of it, Seth MacFarlane was in a couple episodes of Enterprise. Basically, they do what I was wondering why they weren't doing in the first place. I figured this wireless network couldn't be that secure, so I was wondering why they didn't just hack in and start rigging the system. Everybody gets their information from the master feed, i.e. Twitter, and nobody questions the great master feed. So they just put up a bunch of stuff to make it more sympathetic, and Lamar gets out of being lobotomized by 2 votes, and we see the lady that helped them. She's returned to her planet, and she turns off the news feed that's playing 24/7 around everyone. So they don't solve all the society's problems, and they don't claim to have the answer, but Lamar gets out free, and we have a fun episode with great social commentary. The Orville is just an amazing series that is going from strength to strength right now. And this episode, again, like About a Girl, it's just wow. It's just up there with the best that this type of science fiction can produce. That's why my final score, 9 out of 10. the Orville just continues to amaze me, and it's kind of doing for me with Star Trek what Renew Your Vows is doing for me with Spider-Man comics. So I don't care that it's not official. I don't care what they say. This is scratching the Star Trek itch I've had and wanted to see filled for well over a decade. And next week's episode looks like it's going to be even better. Well, now I just have Arrow to deal with, and, well, let's just say I'm going to be busy with some things that are strange.